What up, what up, what up, what they do, Miami Dolphin fans and Dade County representatives. I'm your host, Dade Wave of the Big Fish Network, home for Miami Dolphin fans worldwide. And this is a channel where I talk Miami Dolphins football. And, we starting this 2023 NFL season by going back to Cali like LL and Biggie to face the LA Chargers. We had to fly there last year as well to face them. And, this is going to be the only Western road trip, thank God, that we're gonna be playing this year. The rest of them is pretty much gonna be on the East Coast, or they're gonna be in Germany. And I'm gonna make sure and have y'all covered on the recap and on the previews of each game. So y'all make sure and tune in. If you're a fan of the Fish, share this with all your other Dolphin homeboys. Share this with all of the Dolphin fans that you know, because I want y'all to make sure and get that real when it comes to talking about this team. So y'all make sure and click that notification bell so you can hear it first. We gonna kick off this game at 4:25 Eastern Standard Time on CBS. So we're gonna be the doubleheader. Normally we play the 1 o'clock game, but we gonna, since we flying to LA, we're going to be playing the late game, the 4 o'clock game. And I'm going to have a beer and a blunt in hand watching this shit just like y'all, hoping that we represent and knock these boys off in their house. And it's going to be a big win if we could win this game. And this definitely going to elevate Tua a lot more, because number one, it's going to break the tie, because the first time he played the Chargers and Herbert, he beat them, under Flores. But last year we lost to the Chargers, which I'm gonna talk about both of those games. And I want to make sure and go over this injury report before I take off and really get into it. We got 11 players listed on the injury report throughout the week, but only listed 4 players with game day designations. The Chargers, on the other hand, they had the same 2 players listed all week, including with Friday's game day designation. Unfortunately for us, T. Stead, he's ruled out at left tackle. He's not going to be playing, and he's officially listed as having back, ankle, and knee issues. He hasn't practiced since his injury, in that Texans joint practice. But he didn't practice most weeks last year, and he still played in 13 games during the season. Kendall Lamb, he's going to be expected to start in Teron Armstead's place. Cornerback Justin Bethel and tight end Julian Hill were also both listed as questionable for the game. Bethel, he's dealing with a knee injury, and Hill, he's got ankle issues. I hope he plays. I don't want us to just only have Smythe in the game. I want to see Julian Hill play. I think he has good speed, and I think he can develop into a great weapon if the coaching staff continues to have confidence like it seems like they're showing right now. Elijah Campbell, he's out. Devin A-Chain, he had a shoulder injury. Running back Salvin Ahmed had a back injury. Defensive tackle Raekwon Davis dealt with an elbow issue. Guard Liam Eichenberg had a rib injury. Safety Brandon Jones, knee. Wide receiver Waddle, oblique. Center Connor Williams, knee. Were all listed as full participants on Friday's injury report, and they did not provide game designations, which pretty much means that they're going to play. I believe all of those players I just mentioned that had issues are going to play. For the Chargers, linebacker Diane Henley and outside linebacker Chris Rump, the second. He related to Mike Rump, I believe, from the U that played for us. He's on the injury report all week. Both had hamstring issues. They're probably going to play. They're listed as doubtful, but they may just play if it's just hamstring. Jalen Waddle, they actually removed. Coach said they removed him from the final injury report, so he's gonna play, which I expected him to play anyway. And we elevated Cameron Good. Shout out to Cameron Good. I thought that you could have played better in the preseason, but it looks like the coaching staff has elevated you and made you an edge player. So that means that Vic Fangio probably sees some good attributes, in him, in his scheme. Let's talk about the rivalry versus the Chargers. We've played 36 times, including 4 postseason games, which most of them didn't go in our favor. With the Chargers winning 17 games and us winning 19 games in the head-to-head matchup. So in the postseason, we haven't had success against them, but head-to-head, we pretty much have been beating the Chargers more than they've been beating us. So we lead the head-to-head. Last 2 times we played them was in 2020 and last year. Let's talk about the November 20th, 2020 battle in Week 10. Tua played good this game, and this was running back Salvon Ahmed's first career start. So this was his breakout game, and he ran for 85 yards. I remember that game, 21 carries, and he scored a touchdown on his first play. And that provided a spark for us, which was much needed because at that time, our ground game was ranked 4th worst in the league. So that's the ground game not being effective is another thing that really hurt Coach Flores and really, stopped him from really getting our offense to where it needed to be. We never had a ground game that we could count on under Coach Flores. And I believe we're going to have a real dope ground game under Coach Mike. This win gave us a 6-3 record, and it did put us within a half a game of the AFC East leading Buffalo Bills at the time. And the Chargers, they were 2-7 on the other hand, and they dropped their 3rd game in a row and had the worst record at this point, since 2015 when Phillip Rivers was there. And, we pretty much just outplayed them in all 3 phases of the game. And I think this win also allowed Tua to kind of raise his chest, up at everybody, because the league was fucking hating on him. I mean, let's just say it. The league was hating on Tua at the time. They was hyping up Herbert, which they still hype him up. And we forced him into turnovers, and we exposed the Chargers' flaws in their attack. Joe Lombardi was calling the plays at the time. We got a different beast right now because it's Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator. I still believe they're going to have Herbert in shotgun most of the time, because if you watch the Cowboys last year, when Kellen Moore was calling the plays, Dak Prescott was running a lot of shotgun, So I expect that with the Chargers. Also in this game, Emmanuel Ogbah had a full sack for the 6th game in a row. And on the next play, Xavier Howard picked off Herbert for his 5th interception of the year, setting up our final touchdown. And he was sacked only twice. But we pressured him a lot. I think we were in the top 5 in pressures in the league, and a lot of pressure and pocket collapses made it difficult for him to get the ball down the field, because that's what they want Herbert to do. They don't want him to dink and dunk down the field. I think we should force him to become a dink and dunk quarterback, make him be methodical, because I believe he eventually will make mistakes. He wants to go down the field. And, we only allowed 3 catches by Keenan Allen and 2 by Mike Williams, and their 273 yards were a season low at that time. Tua was safe on the other hand. He was accurate, he was efficient, and he passed for 169 yards with 2 scores and improved to 3-0 with no interceptions since taking over for Ryan Fitzpatrick. It was the most lopsided special teams matchup because Chargers punter Ty Long, he bobbled the snap, and he had his kick blocked to set up the game's first score on Ahmed's run. Quentin Meeks was offside on a field goal attempt by us, giving us a first down, and that led to a touchdown. So again, the one thing about Flores, even though our running game was kind of bad, still we won in other ways. We won collectively, and we may have to do that and find a way to do that depending on who we have to play under Coach Mike McDaniel. And we did kick 3 field goals this game. Jason Sanders made field goals of 50 yards, 35 yards, and 49 yards, but he missed one from 47 yards, ending his streak of 22 in a row. Jakeem Grant, he was the NFL leader in punt yards. He helped give us a good field position. He had 3 run backs for 57 yards. We're going to have to be good in the kicking game when we play the Chargers as well. An onside kick recovery also helped us seal this win. Last year when we played LA on December 11th in week 14, we lost 17-23. And supposedly the game last year was the game that supposedly exposed Tua and Mike McDaniel. As far as all you got to do is they're trying to say all I had to do is just drop back your DBs in zones and guard the middle of the field, and you can disrupt Tua and in the rhythm, and it did work for a while. I'm not gonna lie. They dropped back Drew Tranquill. They dropped back Kenneth Murray, and it did cause Tua to be off and kind of turn the ball over at times. And I believe even though that worked, I believe if our running game was legit, if our running game was doing what they were supposed to do on the interior and in the perimeter, they wouldn't have been able to do that. They was only able to do that because they didn't have to worry about the run. So I think they secondary, if you running the ball like that, especially if we was able to have success in the middle, on the perimeter, their cornerbacks are going to have to commit to block shedding and trying to make a tackle. And I think that will force them into bad mismatches. And, that would have been something we could have took advantage of. Another thing that hurt us this game was, I'll admit, Justin Herbert simply just played better than Tua last year in this game. He threw for 367 yards and a touchdown, completing a career high 39 passes on 51 attempts for his 21st 300-yard game. And he became the first NFL quarterback to throw for 13,000 yards in his first 3 seasons. And, Omar Kelly wrote an article recently pretty much saying how, if Dolphin fans would admit it, we may have picked the wrong quarterback. I don't think that. I think Tua is the perfect fit for the Miami Dolphins, not just as a quarterback on the field. He fit the swag. He fit the swagger of the team. Yeah, I know Herbert, he's white. He looks like Dan Marino. And you think he would have fit the swagger, but I don't think so. I think the Chargers is a better fit for him. Tua's a better fit for us. Trust me when I tell you this. This is what I believe, especially in Mike McDaniel's offense. Herbert can't run McDaniel's offense better than Tua. And that's just simply because they just got different styles. It ain't necessarily because, it's just simply that. Styles win fights. Styles, fit quarterbacks better and determine, which quarterback is going to be good depending on if his coordinator knows how to draw up what's best for him. Austin Eckler finished with 104 scrimmage yards on us, and he also had a score, and we allowed them to get in good field goal range too many times. Uno had his worst game as an NFL starter. He completed 10 of 28 passes for 145 yards and a touchdown. And we needed this win because our record at the time was 8-5. And, our playoff hopes was legit. We thinking, shit, all we got to do is knock off the Chargers. We'll be 9-5. And one more game, that should be able to get us in. Tyreek Hill scored 2 touchdowns for us. One of them on a recovery. Jeff Wilson fumbled. And, he picked it up and he ran to the right side and took it 57 yards to the house. Other than that, and that was kind of a lucky play by the Cheetah. Other than that, they pretty much held us to 219 yards. Despite they didn't even have Derwin James this game or Bryce Callahan. And they also didn't have defensive lineman Sebastian Joseph Day because they were injuries. We're going to have to block Sebastian Joseph Day because he's good at stopping the run. They pretty much got over on us. Simple as that. But I think, we can learn from both of those games, and there's things we can take from those games, and there's other things that we can take from games that the Chargers lost last year that can help us to win this game. Here's my keys to victory on offense, defense, and special teams, starting with the offense. Mike McDaniel's pretty much going to be playing chess against Chargers defensive coordinator Derek Ansley, who had he has a defensive background. He played safety, I think in high school. And him and Brandon Staley, they pretty much are the ones that came up with that game plan to disrupt some of our plays last year. He was previously the defensive coordinator at Tennessee. And, he started his coaching career at Huntington, which is a Division III school in 2005. We're going to have to counter what they did last year. And I think to come up with the keys, to how I think we should attack them, I had to make sure and watch certain games. And these are the games that I watched. I watched the 49ers game. I watched the Denver game. And I noticed certain trends. On offense, don't throw nowhere near cornerback Asante Samuel Jr. unless he's covering Hill or Waddle. He can be beat on stutter and go routes deep, because sometimes he gets confused, especially if they're in zone. So I would definitely take shots at, if we're running those type of plays. I don't know if y'all seen on Madden. It's that play where it's in kind of a tight formation, and they kind of go deep, but kind of veer to the outside, stutter in, and then veer out. It's that kind of play. He can bite on double moves. The next key: run split back shotgun plays with various fullback alignments. So having two, next to Tua, but also maybe having the running back, whether it's going to be Mostert or Ahmed, and having the fullback maybe closer to the line of scrimmage on the angle, and maybe alternating from the left or the right side in that angle. Maybe having the fullback go in motion or behind the running back, veering to the outside, so that when you snap the ball, you could throw it to him or you can hand it off. A lot of misdirection runs out of split back shotgun is what I when the 49ers played them. Kyle Shanahan used a lot of motion, and he ran a lot of draws and misdirection and play action, out of those shotgun plays. And Jimmy, and shout out to Jimmy G too. Jimmy G, when I watched the 49ers play them, he showed real good mobility. Tua's gonna have to be mobile against the Chargers. With Khalil Mack out there, coming at him, he's gonna have to step up in the pocket. He's definitely gonna have to roll out at times because, even Russell Wilson, when the Broncos played him, Russell had to do the same exact thing, and Tua's gonna have to do that. Another key: use Nzukama out of the backfield in the running back position and run package plays for him. The 49ers did this with Deebo Samuel. And we saw McDaniel call splash plays for Eric in the preseason, kind of Deebo Samuel-ish plays, and they worked. I also watched the game that they lost. Who else they lost to? They lost to the Jaguars. I watched that game as well. And the Jaguars used some gun bunch formations. They used a lot of bunch sets with their wide receivers, and that worked. So I think we can try that as well. But, definitely use Nzukama. Angle and route post plays to Mostert and Waddle. So angle route plays to Mostert, post plays to Waddle within the same pattern. Within the same formation. I think that'll work as well. I saw the 49ers do this with Christian McCaffrey and with Brandon Ayuk, finding him on the post plays. I would also use the same round robin approach with our running backs that we used in the preseason games. McDaniel did a great job of just, rotating guys in, working them in, and each of them, being able to get some touches and get into a rhythm. Yes, they say that, it's good for your lead back, if you have a bell cow back, to get into a rhythm. Don't really take them out of the game too much. But I think, you can also have your three-headed monster get into a rhythm by, giving three different backs touches at the right times with the right packages in the right series. And I would make Mostert, Brooks, and Ahmed the three-headed monster. When you look at the game that we lost to them last year, we had success with Jeff Wilson Jr. running up the middle. So I believe we could run those Wilson plays with Chris Brooks. Ahmed, he should also get touches as well, especially in the passing game on screens. I also think we should use Hill in a curl and bomb scheme. So, Hill, Waddle on the post, he'll with the curls and the hitches, especially the deep curls, because they're going to have to respect him catching the ball and getting yak out of those deep curls. Once they commit to that, they're going to bite on the double moves, and he's going to be able to hit them, find them deep, find some real estate deep and get open. Last key on offense, we're going to need to score 31 points to win this game. How do I know this? Because if you look at the scores of the teams that played the Chargers last year, they were all in the high 20s, 27, 31, 28. That's what it took to beat the Chargers, because they're going to score points. My keys to victory on defense: blitz Justin Herbert's right side and cover the right side of the field, because he always rolls out to the right. He rarely rolls out to the left. He even scrambles. When the plays break down, he scrambles to the right. I rarely see him scramble to the left, so blitz the right. Force him to the left, because that tells me that as great as his arm is, he may not be as good throwing to his left side. Watch for tight end screens to Gerald Everett. They like to run that. He's twitchy. He's a twitchy tight end, and he can get open and get yak, if they run those plays to him. Don't forget about their wide receiver, Palmer. Palmer is a good wide receiver. I know they got Mike Williams. They got Keenan Allen. You got to worry about that, as it is. But Palmer can get deep down the field, and Herbert has found him in the back of the end zone on plenty of games last year. So we got to make sure and keep an eye on him. Another thing I noticed about them offensively is they're more of a wide receiver screen team than a running back screen team. Not saying they won't run running back screens, they will, but we ain't gonna have to worry about that as much. They are gonna run wide receiver screens for sure, because they trying to set you up deep down the field with the horizontal wide receiver plays. And I would say we should play mostly man coverage against their wide receivers. Do not play too much zone, because Herbert likes to snap the ball and just stand stationary and just scan the field, not even moving at all. Just snapping the ball, standing stationary, and just relying on his rocket arm to just get to its target, in a few seconds. My keys to victory on special teams: if we decide to try an onside kick, do not kick to Nick Neum. He's recovered in some key moments, so I would kick away from him. He got a nose for the football, so he gonna probably be get to it anyway. But try to kick away from him on onside kicks. Let's take a look at the last time Shula coached against the Chargers, and this is not the exact last time. Like it ain't a game in 1995, but when I say last time, I mean I'm gonna pick from random games that he played. That he coached against, whatever team that I'm breaking down, and just depending on what game, I think maybe it's whatever comes to mind. If I think the roster was similar, if I think the scheme was similar, I might use that in the video. The game that I'm going to use is going to be that December 15th, 1991 game at Jack Murphy Stadium in Week 16. We were 8-6 going into the game, and had we won this game, we might have squeezed into the playoffs, but we didn't take advantage, and the loss pretty much dropped us to 8-7. Then we lost again the following week to the Jets in overtime, and the score to that was 20-23, which eliminated us and made us 8-8. Like I said, we had a similar roster. We only carried 2 tight ends. We had James Pruitt, we had Mark Duper, we had Mark Clayton, we had Tony Martin. We had speed, just like how we have right now. We had 5 running backs. Sammy Smith was the power running back, just like how Chris Brooks is the power running back. And we got to be able to pass to our backs. I think if we pass to our backs, we're going to be able to win this game. Y'all let me know what y'all think the keys are in the comment section. That's all I got for this show. Hopefully we win this damn game and go 1-0, because it'll definitely put us in a good conversation as far as AFC contenders. But that's all I got. Till next time, signing off.